The name of our rapper is Blitz the Ambassador from Ghana, Africa. We picked Blitz because he is an African rapper who speaks on poverty and crime and other issues that address us as a black culture.
Blitz was born in Ghana, Africa, and moved to Brooklyn, New York in 1999 as a teen. He went to Kent State University and studied marketing. He went from being a fan of hip-hop to a hip-hop artist. He released a CD in 2004 and 2005. He was inspired by Miles Davis, Mos Def, Talib Kweli, Common, and KRS-One. He performs all over, but commonly in Ghana, Africa, and in the U.S.
Blitz uses his song to talk about political situations that go on every day, such as poverty, racism, and many other problems that go on in Ghana, Africa. He uses his song to send a message to those around the world who may not know what goes on.
Mammy Till raised young Emmett, single-handed. Pops got killed in the war and left him stranded. South side of Chicago, that's where she made her home. And she lived till her son was grown. Only 14 years, Emmett Till could've made it. The bus and the school system desegregated. Up north, blacks and whites started integration. But in the States down south, different situation. Water fountains in the street, said no colors allowed. Jim Crow laws enforced the ways of the South. Mammy Till knew her son wasn't ready for the city. Before he went to visit Uncle Mose in Mississippi, schooled him on the ways of the South to stay alive. Yes ma'am, never looking wide folk in the eye. Who would tell the story of a boy? It's hard to believe it. We know not our history, we're doomed to repeat it.
I let them know that Mississippi was not Chicago. And when you go to Mississippi, you're living by an entirely different set of rules. It is yes ma'am, and no ma'am, yes sir, and no sir. And with that, he was up the steps and on his way to get off the train.
August 27th was the day that it all happened. Emmett Till spent the morning with his uncle picking cotton. After a day's work, he'd take a trip to the store, which he never would have bothered if he knew what's in store. But who would have thought the store clerk was this white lady? Emmett Till on his way, he said, bye baby. This is the worst that cost the little boy his life. Cause Roy Bryant came home to his wife when she told him what this little colored boy had done. Roy called his wife's brother, said to bring his gun. That night, they dragged Emmett Till out the log cabin. And you can only imagine the facts of what happened. Shot his body up and put a hole in his hand. Threw him in the Tallahatchie River, left him for dead. Who would tell the story of a boy? Hard to believe it. We know not our history, we're doomed to repeat it.
My eyes were so full of tears until I couldn't see. And when I began to make the announcement, that Emmett had been found, and how he was found, the whole house began to scream and to cry.
After they found a body in the river, Roy Bryant and accomplice were accused of the murder. Mammy Till testified while she mourned her child to an all-white jury on the day of the trial. All in shock and disgust when they finally heard it. For the boy that they murdered and not guilty verdict. Roy Bryant and his brother-in-law was scot-free. Mammy opened up the casket for the world to see. Her son they had killed, the tension had built, injustice and guilt. The young Emmett Till who would tell the story of a boy. Hard to believe it. Now that we know our history, we better not repeat it.
Blitz the Ambassador is a well-known political rapper from Ghana. His song, Emmett Till, is about Emmett Till. Emmett Till was the 14-year-old boy from Chicago that was brutally beaten to death and threw in the river for whistling at a white woman in Mississippi. I think he made this song to show people how segregated America used to be. In the song, he says, now that we know our history, we better not repeat it. I think this means we have came too far as a people to go back to killing one another over the color of skin.
Blitz has meaning for everything he does. Blitz, in his videos or music videos, the ambassador has a stereo man that has a stereo as a head. This stereo stands for stereotypes, which ties into his songs. Blitz talks about how African Americans were treated by the man or white Americans. Blitz also sends a message and also speaks the truth instead of speaking on what the people want to hear from him, such as gang violence and how African Americans got treated in the past and also how they got treated as of now. Blitz is a realistic person.